Shocking message from Alcaraz after the Spanish team's defeat in the Davis Cup. Carlos Alcaraz has shared a message on his social media after Spain's defeat. First, he congratulated the Italians and then made it clear that he is very proud of the Spaniards, explicitly saying, "Very big." The two best players in the world have been left out of the tournament for different physical and strategic reasons. The grand final does not feature the two best tennis players on the planet. Carlos Alcaraz, world number 1, and Sinner, world number 2, are not representing Spain and Italy, respectively. Both players, number 1 and 2 in the world rankings, have been sidelined for different physical and strategic reasons. Carlos Alcaraz, who was set to be part of the Spanish team led by David Ferrer, will not be able to play due to an edema in the hamstring of his right leg, an injury diagnosed after the Masters tournament final against Sinner. On medical advice, he will have to avoid competing in order to recover. The grand final does not feature the two best tennis players on the planet. Carlos Alcaraz, world number 1, and Sinner, world number 2, are not representing Spain and Italy, respectively. Both players, number 1 and 2 in the world rankings, have been sidelined for different physical and strategic reasons. Carlos Alcaraz, who was set to be part of the Spanish team led by David Ferrer, will not be able to play due to an edema in the hamstring of his right leg, an injury diagnosed after the Masters tournament final against Sinner. On medical advice, he will have to avoid competing in order to recover. For his part, Sinner decided not to participate in order to prioritize his rest and preparation ahead of the 2026 season and the Australian Open, after a demanding year that included retirements due to cramps in previous tournaments. As for the history between the two, Italy and Spain have faced each other several times in the Davis Cup. Italy holds a slight advantage with 7 series won against Spain 6, although La Roja has not lost to Italy since 1997 and has won the last 3 series in a row. Host nation Italy, without its star Sinner, defeated Spain without Carlos Alcaraz 2-0 in the Davis Cup final this Sunday in Bologna, securing its 3rd consecutive trophy. In addition to the titles in 2023, 2024, and now 2025, Italy won this emblematic men's tennis competition in 1976, bringing its total to 4 in its history. Flavio Cobolli, the world's number 22, claimed the decisive point in a tough match in which he had to come back against Jaume Munar, number 36, by 1-6, 7-6, 7/5, and 7-5, after Matteo Berrettini, number 56, had won the first singles match against Pablo Carreño, number 89, 6-3 and 6-4. Italy had been shaken emotionally when they learned that they would have to face this final phase without their national star Sinner, world number 2, and also without Lorenzo Musetti, number 8, but the week in Bologna was perfect, winning each of their ties 2-0 and giving their fans moments of great excitement with comebacks and unforgettable matches. They first defeated Austria on Wednesday in the quarterfinals and then Belgium on Friday, without losing a single match in a final phase that was being held in their country for the first time, after several years in Spain. No country had won 3 straight Davis Cups since the United States strung together 5 consecutive titles between 1968 and 1972. In the historical record, Italy and its 4 Davis Cups are still far behind the 32 won by the United States and even behind Spain's 6, with Spain's last title coming in 2019. For the 2nd consecutive year, Italy can also boast of having completed the double in the same year in the main national team tennis competitions, having also retained its title in the Billie Jean King Cup, formerly Fed Cup, the women's equivalent of this tournament. Big absences. Sinner had declined to take part this week in Bologna to have more preparation time for the 2026 season and the Australian Open in January, where he will defend his title. Musetti, for his part, was ruled out due to his physical condition and the imminent arrival of his 2nd child. Spain also arrived in Bologna weekend, without world number 1 Alcaraz, injured in his right leg, and without Alejandro Davidovich, number 14, who was not called up by captain David Ferrer. The highest-ranked ATP player present this week in Bologna was Germany's Alexander Zverev, number 3, whose team was eliminated on Saturday by Spain in the semi-finals. With this tournament, men's tennis brings down the curtain on the 2025 season, with only the ATP Next Gen Masters for young players, December 17th to 21st, remaining this year. The next event on the calendar will be, at the start of 2026, the United Cup, a mixed national team event that begins on January 2nd in Australia, followed by the first ATP tournaments of the new season in Brisbane, Australia, and Hong Kong starting January 5th. The ATP circuit has closed another electrifying year, marked by the consolidation of a new rivalry that promises to dominate tennis over the next decade, Sinner vs. Carlos Alcaraz. But this time we are not talking about titles, points, or playing statistics, we're talking about money. Because the 2025 season has produced a financial ranking that reflects, better than any other chart, who the true superstars of the sport are. The annual prize money report confirms what was already evident on the court. Sinner and Alcaraz have ruled the circuit. And they have done so with a massive gap over the rest. Between the two, they have accumulated more than $37 million, a figure that leaves their pursuers far behind. Not since the Federer-Nadal-Djokovic era has a duo generated such excitement and such payouts. With $19.12 million, Sinner has not only completed the most lucrative season of his career, but one of the most profitable in modern tennis history. The Italian, who ended the year giving up the world #1 ranking, has continued to collect titles throughout the year, along with major finals and an almost robotic consistency. That has allowed him to turn his tennis explosion into a true economic phenomenon. Sinner has been present on all the biggest stages, where the checks are bigger and the pressure greater. His reliability in important tournaments has allowed him to dominate the financial ranking. At 24 years old, he is already moving in figures worthy of a legendary player. If Sinner reigns, Alcaraz lurks. And the margin between them proves it. Just $317,000 separate the Italian from the Mercian. With $18.803 million accumulated, Carlos Alcaraz has once again demonstrated that his tennis is pure spectacle and, at the same time, an economic engine for the circuit. The Spaniard, winner of Roland Garros and the US Open, continues to be a machine for generating revenue in every tournament he steps into. Alcaraz not only attracts crowds, he draws global attention, massive audiences, commercial interest, and of course, millions in prize money. His mix of explosiveness, charisma, and willingness to take risks has made him a central figure in world sport. The Italian dedicated some beautiful words to Carlitos after being crowned for the second consecutive year in the Masters Cup. Carlos Alcaraz could not defeat Sinner in the final of the Masters Cup. The Mercian delivered a great performance, but the solidity of the Italian ultimately prevailed in a match that was evenly balanced for much of the time. Only the details, in Sinner's favor, ended up deciding the final and the second Masters title for the world #2. It is the second consecutive crown that Jannik has won in Turin. All without having dropped a single set. Even so, the #1 ranking belongs to Alcaraz this season, as the Mercian secured it in the group stage. Regarding this, Sinner took the opportunity to dedicate some touching words to Carlitos after the final. Despite their rivalry on the court, both maintain a great relationship. "If I'm not #1, I want you to be," Jannik said during the trophy ceremony. Both he and Carlos exchanged emotional messages after yet another great final between them. Alcaraz and Sinner respond and clarify their relationship. The two best tennis players in the world analyze their relationship and their personal seasons in a joint interview. Tennis players Carlos Alcaraz and Sinner took part in a joint conversation for CNN Sports, hosted by Amanda Davis, in which they shared reflections about their relationship on and off the court, in the context of the 2025 NITO ATP Finals. In this unpublished interview, both assured, "Off the court, we forget about the rivalry." During the conversation, Alcaraz joked about how often he sees Sinner, "more than my mother." Both highlighted that, while on the court they face each other with all the competitiveness that comes with their quality in the battle for #1, off the court their relationship is based on respect and camaraderie. Sinner said, "When you train together, see each other in the locker room, then it's natural that you get to know each other more and more." The interview video shows relaxed moments, with some jokes, personal comments, as well as tactical realities, the rivalry between the two best on the circuit. However, Alcaraz himself clarifies, the word rivalry stays in the professional part. For example, in 2025 Alcaraz and Sinner have faced each other repeatedly in Grand Slam finals and Masters tournaments. This year, Alcaraz won the US Open and Roland Garros against Sinner, just as the Italian did against the Spaniard at Wimbledon. The fact that they train together, see each other on the circuit both as rivals and as companions in parallel events, and have met in multiple finals reinforces Alcaraz's joke about seeing him more than his mother. And that, according to the player himself, never tires me. Carlos Alcaraz confirms that the debut of his personal logo with Nike will be in 2026. Carlos Alcaraz has confirmed that his personal logo with Nike will be ready next year, after several months of meetings with the American brand. During an online chat with Pat Benson, the world #1 clarified that the rumors about an immediate presentation were not correct and that the project now has a defined horizon. "It was fake news, to be honest. I'm still working on it, we had several meetings and we are on the right track to have a personal logo as soon as possible. All I can say is that we are still working to get it soon," he said. He added that the clothing line linked to this new identity is also planned for next year. "We are working on it, we're figuring out how to do it, but I trust that next year we'll have something," he stated. The player ruled out that the future insignia would incorporate the triple C associated with his family motto: head, heart, and balls. "No, that has never been in the plan at any time," he said on the matter. Alcaraz is about to finalize his new image while adding new deals with Donan and Itaú, which join an already consolidated commercial structure. The Mercian, who has accumulated 24 professional titles and 6 Grand Slams at age 22, maintains contracts with Nike, Babolat, Rolex, Isden, BMW, Calvin Klein, Louis Vuitton, El Pozo, and the autonomous community, among others. Nike, with whom he signed in 2019, has developed an exclusive design that the player has already approved. Although the brand is keeping the proposal under wraps to maximize its impact, the launch has finally been postponed to next year, aligned with the athlete's commercial strategy. The new contract would be for 10 years, and due to the amount of money he will receive per season, it becomes one of the most lucrative in tennis history. Alcaraz's team increased the demands and figures after the company and Sinner signed a 10-year deal worth a total of $158 million. This is because the Italian had not yet won a Grand Slam or reached number 1, something that happened precisely this month. In addition to Nike, Alcaraz has other sponsors such as Babolat, Rolex, BMW, Isden, Calvin Klein, and El Pozo, among others.